This is the Metaspeed 2, and it features the same foam that's in the Novablast 3, but this shoe also has a plate. So is this shoe basically a plated Novablast 3? It's time to put on the Metaspeed 2 and take it for a run. .5 miles total for today, where I had a workout of 5 times kilometer repeats with 400-meter jog. The goal for those kilometer repeats was for me to come in at about 5:50 to 6 minutes per mile pace. In other words, my goal 5K race pace, I ended up at about 5:55 per mile. A perfect way to round out my testing of the Asics Metaspeed 2. Now, before I give you my thoughts on this shoe and how it's fared for me over the last several miles, I do want to go over some disclosures. This is a pair of shoes that Asics sent to me for the purpose of review. However, they're not paying me to wear this shoe or to make this video, and they're not going to get a chance to preview any of my footage or my thoughts before you guys get a chance to see this video on YouTube. I should also disclose that I've been doing a lot of work with Asics in the lead up to the Eugene World Athletics Championships. So I've been going on a lot of trips with Asics, meeting a lot of Asics people, and I'm doing a lot of promotional work with them. So plenty of opportunity for bias in this video, but please feel free to take that into account as you weigh the validity of my opinions in this video. So with that discussion out of the way, let's talk about the Metaspeed 2. First, let's go over some specs to this sophomore year edition. In the heel, we've got 31 millimeters of stack height with a 7 millimeter drop, giving us 24 millimeters of stack height in the forefoot. And we've got 3 layers to this cake. On the top, we've got Novablast Plus, which is a high-end foam that Asics has introduced for this year that is lighter and squishier and yet still more responsive. In the heel of this shoe, there is a layer of regular flight foam, or what they've been previously calling flight foam Propel. It's a little bit firmer, a little bit denser, and a little bit heavier of a material, but still a very responsive material. And in between those 2 layers is sandwiched a composite carbon and TPU plate. So it's not strictly a carbon fiber plate, but it is a composite mixture of a couple of materials. On the outsole, we have a rubber pattern of Asics grip outsole material that is reminiscent of what we're seeing in the Metaspeed Sky Plus and the Metaspeed Edge Plus this year. The difference here in the Metaspeed 2, it's a little bit thicker of a layer of rubber to increase that grip and durability. Up top, we have a very comfortable upper that is almost like a racer fit, but a little bit more forgiving than what we're seeing in the Metaspeed Sky Plus and in the Metaspeed Edge Plus. The upper is comfortable, but designed for speed. And you can see that with the minimal amount of padding that's through the heel cup and the very thin tongue that sits down and low and out of the way. And as far as weight goes, this entire package comes in at 238 grams, or about 8.3 ounces. Now, with the specs out of the way, let's talk about what it was like to run in this shoe. Now, this shoe takes a lot of design cues from the Metaspeed Edge Plus and the Metaspeed Sky Plus, and I think that those similarities carry through more than just skin deep. It definitely feels like a training companion. To me, between the Edge Plus and the Sky Plus, this shoe reminds me a lot more of the Metaspeed Edge Plus, and I think primarily that has to do with the plate position. I think the plate position is a little bit more aggressive. Instead of staying at the top layer like it does in the Metaspeed Sky Plus, it kind of swoops down so that the plate ends up really close to the ground in the forefoot, very similar to how it appears in the Metaspeed Edge Plus. And the plate dynamics, I think, are what dictating the way that this shoe feels to me. Now, it is a very light and springy shoe, not quite as light and springy as the Metaspeed Edge Plus, but you definitely get that sensation. You're feeling like a similar kind of like ride dynamics and mechanics in this shoe as I was experiencing in the Edge Plus. And while I prefer the Metaspeed Sky Plus over the Metaspeed Edge Plus, I still really do enjoy the Metaspeed 2. And that's because of the way that I've been using it. I've been using it mainly for a lot of workouts, doing threshold work and a lot of 5K pace work as well. I'm currently working on trying to improve my 5K PR. I've got a 5K race coming up on September 10th. So I've been doing a lot of work in that kind of speed range and also even faster paces down towards what my mile race pace would be. And I feel like the Metaspeed 2 has the ability to cushion my foot from those higher impact forces than what I typically see when I'm marathon training, while also staying light, nimble, and quick enough for me to be able to do a lot of work, even getting onto the track, which is not something that I typically do. The shoe has been performing really well. I've even been using it for a little bit of 5K racing. I took it up with me on my trip to Eugene with Asics for the World Championships. I ran a 5K out there ahead of the Men's World Championship Marathon, and I was able to run with help from Megan Murray, I believe in the run, to a time of 19 minutes flat, which was a PR for me by about a couple of seconds. So the shoe certainly is able to race quickly, even though it's most typically seen as like the workout shoe or the training companion to the Metaspeed Edge Plus or the Metaspeed Sky Plus. But I feel like the shoe has a little bit of versatility to it as well. I think partially because of the fact that they're using FF Blast Plus instead of like the FF Turbo in those race shoes. I do feel like the shoe has the chops to be used as an easy day shoe by a lot of people that are out there. Personally, I find it to be a little bit firm, and that plate kind of makes it additionally feel a little bit firm for me for like a long, easy run. But for those of you who like a little bit more firmness, snappiness in your easy day shoes, I feel like this is a shoe that you really might be able to gravitate toward for your easy runs. So overall, the shoe is light. It's definitely snappy, and it has that FF Blast foam in there, which is doing a really great job at cushioning impact for my workouts. But this begs the ultimate question. With that FF Blast Plus in there and the fact that it has a plate, even if it's a composite plate, is this a plated Novablast 3? And unfortunately, the answer to that question is no. It just doesn't have the same squishiness that the Novablast 3 does, even though the foam is the same, or at least mostly the same in terms of having that top layer of FF Blast Plus. And I don't think it's just because of the fact that there's a bottom layer or that heel wedge of flight foam that's in here that's making it feel very different than the Novablast 3 does. I think it really comes down to plate position, and one of the things that I've really figured out this year, comparing the Metaspeed Sky Plus, the Metaspeed Edge Plus, and then getting experience in this Metaspeed 2, is that plate position makes a huge difference in the way a foam feels. You can even have the same foam when you're talking about the Edge Plus and the Sky Plus, but the difference in plate position can make the same foam feel almost completely different. And I think that's kind of what we're experiencing here in the Metaspeed 2. Yes, the Novablast 3 has a bunch of FF Blast Plus. Yes, the Metaspeed 2 has a bunch of FF Blast Plus. But because that plate position curls down and hits low to the ground, I feel like that changes the way that the FF Blast is going to feel as it compresses under the forefoot to make it feel very different than the Novablast 3. That low plate position helps for a very quick turnover and for a lot of stability in the forefoot landing. So I feel like those who maybe thought the Novablast 3 was too squishy are going to find the ride dynamics of the Metaspeed 2 is going to be exactly what you're looking for from an FF Blast Plus shoe. But for those of you that are looking for that Novablast 3 with a plate in it, this really isn't the shoe that you're looking for. The shoe that you're looking for already exists. It's the Metaspeed Sky Plus. But the silver lining to the fact that this isn't your Novablast 3 Plus is the fact that it's a really excellent training companion for those of us road marathoners out there. And I think it could be the primary workout shoe for those of you who may not ever need to get a Metaspeed Sky Plus or a Metaspeed Edge Plus. For a lot of you guys that are out there looking at this shoe, I know that you guys are racing in flats or spikes. And that's not something that you're going to be doing all your workouts in because that's just really tough on the body. For you guys, the workout shoe that you might want to reach for the most is going to be a shoe that's like this the Metaspeed 2 that has that high cushion so that way it could take impact from your workouts, but has that springiness that gives you that sensation you're looking for to give you that pop as you're putting in those hard repetitions. So really, I think that the Metaspeed 2 is the training companion that we should have gotten last year with the Metaspeed 1. The Metaspeed 1 did not feel to me like the Metaspeed Sky at all. This year's they fixed that, and it really makes sense to me as having the Metaspeed Sky Plus and Edge Plus kind of on one tier, and then right below it in terms of a little bit more durability, a little bit friendlier price point, and a little bit more versatility in that Metaspeed 2, while still giving a lot of the same feelings that you're getting in the top tier of race shoe. The Metaspeed 2 is, I think, a fantastic definition of what a training companion could be. So those are my thoughts on the Metaspeed 2. Let me know in the comments if you have any other questions, or better yet, stop by the live stream that I do Monday through Friday right here on YouTube. I'd love to talk to you guys in the chat. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for making it all the way to the end of this video. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there on your runs, and I will see you in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?